Krish, at the end of the day, we are talking about people here who face and risk death, literally, to make this journey. We just heard Ali talking about just the manipulation and misinformation from the coyotes, and this policy was expected to end at the start of the year. At the time, we saw shelters at the border hit capacity. We saw people freezing in the streets because of how cold it was. I mean, do you feel like the administration maybe is the shelters here are better equipped this time around, or are you expecting another humanitarian disaster?
I think the administration has certainly put in some resources, but I do think Secretary Mayorkas's admission is accurate in terms of what nonprofits like LIRS are seeing on the ground. Every day, our teams are serving children and families who have been uprooted from their homes by gang violence, persecution, extreme poverty, climate disaster. They arrive with nothing but the clothes on their backs, and what they are seeking is just, as you described, in terms of the personal circumstances, safety, a better life for their children. And so that desperation will continue to drive this influx. And we are seeing a significant buildup along both sides of the border. More than 20,000 migrants were in Border Patrol custody as of Friday morning, which is twice the agency's detention capacity, which is about 8,500. In Juarez, we've seen at least 10,000, as you mentioned, just across the border in El Paso. Yes, we saw the mayor's state of emergency declaration that will allow the city to open up temporary shelters and access federal funds. But the uptick we are seeing is going to continue to grow. And it is because of a pent-up humanitarian demand. That demand is not new. It was a result of the Trump administration's policies like Remain in Mexico and cutting off legal pathways. But we aren't seeing the kinds of preparations necessary for May 11th. And so we are bracing ourselves for what could be a humanitarian crisis.
Do you feel, Krish, like the new policies the administration just announced make a difference, or do they feel like they're just not going to do enough at this point?
I think they are helpful at the margins in the sense that we do need to reduce the pressure at the southern border. Economic migrants shouldn't be coming that route. Those who are seeking family reunification shouldn't be coming that route. The reality is, because the administration, because Congress have not come to an agreement, the southern border has really become the only pathway to come into the U.S. And so I think the executive branch, the White House, are doing what they can, given the limited constraints. And this is why Congress needs to act. It may feel like ancient history to think about the fact that just 10 years ago this month, we actually had comprehensive immigration, a proposal that passed the Senate by 68 votes. That seems incomprehensible today. But the truth is, for us to act with the scale necessary to avert a crisis, it is going to require both administration and congressional action.
Krish, a little over a year ago, we had an immigration activist on, and she actually gave President Biden's policies a low rating. This is from MSNBC in January 2022.
Unfortunately, the president made so many promises that he still hasn't kept. And not only that, many of the realities right at the border are in some ways even worse for some people. And so to me, it is a low grade, and we still have time, right? He still has a few more years before the next election. And I would hope that he reverses course on how he has done so far. But definitely, we have not seen what we wanted to see from his promises.
Krish, this is a human problem, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the politics of this as well. A year later, has the opinion among activists changed?
I don't know that a lot has changed because the Biden administration has continued its carrot and stick approach. Essentially, it's been a policy mix of harsher enforcement, expanded legal pathways. There are some welcome measures, of course, that we have seen in the last year. We've seen the continued expansion of humanitarian parole programs. That's helpful because it does allow for people to apply from their home country, but it is a temporary solution. We've also seen the administration talk about additional family reunification programs. That, to us, is a bipartisan program that ought to receive support from both sides of the aisle. We've seen the administration double the number of people who could be resettled through the region, and I think that is also useful. But we have to recognize that the administration has also announced ways to limit asylum processing. That's included the transit ban. That's included even discussions of family detention. And so the reality is that there are activists, there are immigration groups like ourselves who believe that it shouldn't have been this difficult to change the Trump administration's policies. And yet even Title 42 is a great example of it's been in place for 3 years now. This is a holdover from the Trump administration. And while there has been litigation and we've appreciated the administration criticizing Title 42, we've also seen it expand its implementation. And so I think it is a mixed bag. We are hopeful in this final year of the first term that we will see the administration lean into having more welcoming policies, especially at a time when our country needs more migrants. We have 10 million jobs that are going unfilled. And so I think there's a huge opportunity for the administration to even pivot more substantially in this final year.
Ali Rafa, Ryan Nobles, and Krish O'Mara Vignarajah, thank you all for your time.